Good evening, and welcome along to the show. Tonight I'll be chatting to musician Desi Donnelly. I'll be talking to Clare McMahon as well about her new play, The Gap Year, which comes to the Lyric Theatre, and we'll find out all about a brand new charity event, the Walk Against Hunger charity. But before all that, let's meet our first guest. He was, he didn't do too well at school, I think it's fair to say, but he actually went on to have a pretty successful career in the media, and not only that, but he went on to study law as well, and we'll find out what he's up to today because Anthony Miller joins us in the studio. Anthony, welcome.
Hi, Robin. Gosh, it's so funny hearing other people talk about your life in such a quick flash, you know. Is this the end? Is this what happens?
In one little sentence, I know, but cast your mind back about 10 or 15 years because you've come a long way even then, because that time we'd be out at every party going in Belfast at every opening of an envelope, basically, wouldn't we?
I mean, yes, absolutely, 100%. I mean, we were never in the house. And I remember, actually, you remember Dickie, who was my on-screen platonic husband.
Yes.
But he used to be constantly moaning at me, dragging him around sail rails for whatever outfit we were going out in that night, because God forbid you'd be in the Ulster Tatler in the same outfit twice, you know.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Dickie there as well, because you two were well known for your wedding planning back in the day, and you were the first gay wedding planner, weren't you?
We were. So whenever the bill was passing through Parliament, we got wind of that. So we were working with contacts at Westminster. We were also working with contacts in the wedding industry, and also some of the churches as well, believe it or not. And we kind of acted like a bridge in the middle, sort of translating the law to everybody and then introducing the industry to this new consumer base. And we also organised some of the first weddings then as well.
Brilliant. So, I mean, you've had this really varied career, which isn't bad for somebody who was expelled from school.
Expelled from school, nothing to be proud of. I don't wear it as a badge of honour by any means. But interestingly, at 43 years of age, I've just found out that I have severe ADHD.
Right.
Which now, when I look back and track the years, it all makes sense. I mean, being expelled from school and those kinds of things completely fit the type. But of course, back in the days, the 90s in Northern Ireland, we had other things to be concerned about. Nobody knew about ADHD, you were just a naughty kid. And the constraints of school and the institution just didn't work for me. I didn't fit that template. I was lucky to go on and worked in media. I started off as a model and then as a dancer and then presenting. So I was very lucky that way. But yeah, I came to academia quite late. And funnily enough, I love the institution.
Yeah.
Love the tradition.
I'm going to come to that, because why then, from this great media career, which had you in London for a long time as well, and then suddenly you go into law? How and why?
Always had the fascination with law. My nephew died of cancer. He was 4. And it's not a bolt out of the sky. It's, God doesn't come and speak to you and say, you must change your life. But things like that, events like that, make you look at your life and you do think about, well, actually, have I done all of the things that I want to do?
Yeah.
And I happened to be having a conversation with, you would know Tanya Dory.
Yes.
She was a publisher here. And she happened to say to me, we were having one of those conversations, what's your regret? And my regret was education and that I hadn't studied law. So she kind of almost dared me to see, could I get into some unis? And I did. And
so it happens even if you've got no qualifications?
Yeah, no qualifications. I didn't do an access to university course. I didn't do a foundation year. I just went straight on to the law degree with everybody else, which was hilarious because, of course, I went totally legally blonde. All I was thinking about is, what should I wear? Do I go for a backpack or a satchel? Wasn't even thinking about this is going to be really challenging academically at all. Just what does one wear for studying law, And yeah, it was quite a surprise.
Yeah.
I don't mind telling you. And I struggled through the first year with academia because I have a journalistic background. So whenever I was writing essays, I was writing stories, which is not academic writing. But what I did notice in first year, we have a thing called mooting, which is where law students compete against each other on like appeal cases and Supreme Court cases. And I beat first, second, third and postgrad students. So I thought, I've got the lawyering skills. I just need to match the academia up. So it came, graduated with a first, which was quite a surprise. And I'm just finishing off, hopefully, qualifying as a barrister. I've just also qualified as an international mediator for civil and commercial. And I work as a lecturer, believe it or not. I actually teach law now as well.
Excellent. But you haven't fully said goodbye to media, have you?
No. So I have my series, which is actually Dickie, my former TV partner. He is a publisher based in New York, and he has a couple of global titles, one of which is Queer 40, which is a magazine for LGBT people over 40 years of age. So I have a web series on there. I've been interviewing, we've been actually sharing some of our guests actually.
Carol's been on.
Carol Decker from Dubai.
And Charlene.
Charlene.
I mean, I got to say thank you, because I was a massive fan of I've Never Been to Me. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to you one night and you say, just out of the blue, oh, I'm interviewing that woman who had the big hit with I've Never Been to Me, Charlene, tomorrow. And I went, you're what? I've been trying to track her down for years.
Yeah.
We tracked her down and we both had these amazing chats with her, and I even got to do the talky bit of I've Never Been to Me with her as well. That's true. Yeah.
That's what love is.
Yeah,
I mean, she is the soundtrack of my life.
Yeah.
And I did the modelling. I was on tour as a dancer and as a model, and then whenever I went into the wedding side, we were on tour for about 3 years. So that song was always really, really precious to me. And then here I am chatting to her in her spare room, and she's like, wah! She's so chill, completely chill. And I almost talked myself into doing a tour with her, actually.
Yeah,
I just happened to say you should do a one-woman show, and we were this close to contracting it by the end of the conversation. I wouldn't have had time. But yeah, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous woman. Aren't we lucky? Look at the people we get.
The people we had, and I know recently we spoke about, sadly we lost Olivia Newton-John, and it just happened the week before. You were getting so close to getting that interview as well.
Robin, honestly, so it had been in the pipeline close to a year. I'm getting a bit emotional, actually. What a lovely woman. Yeah. And actually her team are credit to them too. Yeah. They're lovely, lovely people. And she was really keen to do the interview, and obviously I wanted to, I wouldn't have cared if it was a 10-hour interview. She was getting whatever she wanted. But the messages just kept coming. She's concentrating on her health at the moment. Let's put it back. So I think I kind of realised maybe sooner than what it was announced that maybe it wasn't going to happen, which was so sad. But her team were gorgeous. But yeah, I'm raging. I never got that wee moment with her, but she shared her entire life with us.
She did. I mean,
so we get to share
what a life,
that.
and of course that musical legacy that she's left with us as well. And of course, Chloe, her daughter, is making some great music and stuff at the minute as well. I've been playing the track "Window in the Wall" that they duetted with. Which is just beautiful.
Yeah. So. And I really hope people get behind her. Actually, I think sometimes we have a tendency to get sort of inverted snobbery, don't we? Yeah. Oh, because they're the child of, we're not going to like them. And actually, do you know what? These are people that have grown up inside institutional, amazing, the musical wisdom, entertaining wisdom that they can bring. I hope they give her a chance.
You're constantly coming up with TV ideas as well.
Yeah.
And I know you've come up with this idea. You want to kind of do a Judge Rinder meets Ricky Lake type show?
Kind of, right. So I just think, so the world isn't just complete disarray at the moment. Yeah. It's crazy, crazy times. And we have some good advocates. Martin Lewis, for instance, but we don't have enough advocate TV. We have, we've got bits, but not enough. I love the property shows, I love the cooking shows, but I don't think really this is the time to be looking at dream homes or foie gras and caviar for dinner. I think people really need a bit of guidance and actually maybe a bit of representation. And not everybody, people say, well, you can do this. Not everybody knows what they can do. Nobody actually knows the channels that they can do, and if they're in trouble with their mortgage or their bills or anything that can happen. So I would like to see something like that happen. Not necessarily for me to be in it, but I would like to see TV get a bit more socially responsible and sort of take up that gambit of
and we're not talking about going back to the Jeremy Kyle shows or all that stuff, which we really put behind us.
No, and Jeremy Kyle on paper should have been a wonderful thing, actually. Yeah. But it just became sensationalism and really intrusive. And I would never want to put my name to anything like that, ever. But I think that TV has a certain power.
It does, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I contact a company today and I need something done, that could take a long time. But if I say, well, look, we're going to be interviewing your press office tomorrow, it might just get through a little bit quicker.
Exactly, yes.
It puts a bit of pressure on. So I think TV, I think media in general, I think we all have a responsibility to to do what we can because these are hairy times.
What about the changes in radio at the moment as well? Big changes at the BBC, and I'm talking Radio 2 to lose Paul O'Grady, Steve Wright and Vanessa Feltz so suddenly.
How does this happen? Who makes these decisions? It making no sense,
No, making no sense at all. But for us, tomorrow night, we'll be joining Vanessa at the Culloden Hotel.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I'm still actually in the country, because I'm supposed to be back in England. My publicist, Michelle McTurnan, along with Unique Aesthetics, Leslie McGarity, first ever Cosmetic Medicine Awards. And they have this guy coming in. I know Vanessa Feltz is one of the presenters, but this other guy, they call him Mr. Showbiz. You, of course.
I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait to share a stage with broadcasting royalty.
Well, she's sharing a stage with broadcasting royalty, actually. Has she had the memo? I mean, forever. I mean, I think I've joked to you before, like, you know, were you here before TV? Or?
Well, I know. But I think this is going to work because I'm hoping there's going to be a little bit of chemistry between us on stage tomorrow night.
I have no doubt there'll be a lot of chemistry. And in the absence of that, there'll be a lot of gin and champagne, I'm sure, anyway. I know I'll be certainly having plenty of it. But I'm so excited for the night. And, you know, Michelle McTurnan in particular, you know her very well. She's my publicist and best friend, actually, in the world. But she's been around, 20 years now?
She's been around more than 20 years.
Well, as a PR.
As a PR person, you were around for 20 years.
She was Miss Ireland, actually. Prior to that, she was Miss Ireland. Yes, dare I forget. But, you know, so to see her actually, because, you know, she does these things for everybody else. So I'm really loving that she's actually... She's getting something out of it. This is her event, along with Leslie from Unique Aesthetics, who I have got to know quite well over the years. They've done a bit of touching up every now and again.
She looks after me very well, I must say as well. So,
Thank God for them.
So big night tomorrow night, which is why you're sticking around in Belfast
I'm still here,
at the moment. So, do you get back much to Belfast? Or?
Not a lot, not as much as I would like to. During the lockdown was great. I was able to come in lockdown with family, but my schedule's completely unforgiving at the minute. I'm just about to start recording a new series of Anthony Meets. So I don't even know, I now have a booker, by the way.
Oh, right.
First series I did all the legwork. I now have a booker in New York booking my guests for me, so I don't even know who I'm getting.
Excellent.
So about to start filming in that, finishing off the bar. I'm lecturing at 3 institutions, so life's a bit busy.
Got to mention the TED Talk you did as well, because it must have been a big surprise, the reaction you got to that talk.
Do you know, Robin, that talk, the whole thing about that talk was how I because a TED Talk is your journey and the wisdom that you get from it. And I spent a huge part of my life caring about what you thought of me, or X person thought of me. What I wore, what I did for a living, who I dated, who I was friends with, all were very heavily influenced about how it would look. And it was always about being good enough for other people. And academia actually was where I really found my own sort of footing in life and actually started to like myself just because. So the whole talk was based around good enough for me. But, you know, I know a lot of people in media, a lot of people with big social media followings, a lot of people who I've done a lot of favours for over the year. And I mean a lot of favours. I had Michelle as the PR, she got into all the press, but I approached some people. Look, would you mind click and share on this?
Yes.
Less than a second.
Yeah.
Some did, you did.
Yes.
Some did not.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Right. And for that second, it threw me straight back in. The validation thing. It threw me off my perch for another second. And thank God I was able to go, no, I'm good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm good. So I'll never change me. If they want favours in the future, they can have them, as many as they like. I'm not going to change me because of them. But it was a lovely moment of actually realising, actually, that would have really bothered me before. And I would have been, I'd have been revenge in that and arguing with them about it. Jog on, love.
Exactly. Well, do you know what? I'm glad you haven't changed. You're still the same as you always are. And you know what? It's always good to see you whenever you're home.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Okay, time for some music now, and let's play one of my favourite songs of the year so far. It's from Steve Forbert's brand new album, Moving Through America, and this one's called Fried Oysters.
Trying mountain, you're my oyster girl. And I won't eat fried oysters without you. I won't eat fried oysters without you and cocktail sauce. I don't care what they cost, it's worth those high prices. Take your time and show me I'm in too much of a world. I won't eat fried oysters without you. Houston town is on flat ground and around here questions swirl. What's the next big hurricane gonna do? I could move, but all I prove is you're my only pearl. And I won't eat fried oysters without you. I won't eat fried oysters without you and cocktail sauce. I don't care what they cost, it's worth those high prices. Take your time and show me I'm in too much of a world. I won't eat fried oysters without you. I won't eat fried oysters without you.
Now, my next two guests are currently raising money for charity for a thing called Walk Against Hunger. They're planning on walking something like 15 million steps. I think they're crazy, but we're going to find out how they're getting on because Jane and Diane join us in the studio. Ladies, welcome. Jane, we'll start with you. Tell us how all this came about.
So I'm an essential skills tutor with the local training organisation People First. We're based all over Northern Ireland and I teach students aged 16 to 19. And we like to talk about current affairs, and we're talking about sort of what's happening with government at the moment and the cost of electricity and fuel going up. And we were talking about people relying more on food banks, and some of the students didn't know what a food bank was, whether they needed one or never heard of one. So it kind of got us talking about the need for more food banks, and the students might need food banks. So we sort of got in discussion about it and how we can raise awareness amongst the students and maybe give something back.
So Diane, tell us what's happening then. You are walking something like 15 million steps, isn't that correct?
That's right, yes. So as a company, there's 15 offices and we're collectively walking 15 million steps over the month of August to raise £15,000 for our local food banks.
Right, so how's it going so far then?
Really well so far, actually. With the walking side, a lot better than we expected. Everyone's really getting involved, both the staff and the students. But really we're here today to raise awareness because our sponsorship side just needs a wee bit of a boost. All
right, so you're still looking for people to get involved and do the walk with you then?
Very much so. It would be great to sort of, if you see it's about walking, beep the horn, get involved. We've loads of information on our social media. We're just at this stage, we're sort of looking to raise more awareness and let more people know that there's help out there if needed.
So you've got a Just Giving page set up, haven't you? Where people can donate to you as well.
Yeah, Just Giving page, which is handy. Just click on the link, QR code, and donate whatever you can.
Brilliant. Now, as we mentioned there, it's to raise money for the food banks out there. And as we heard earlier from Jane, some of the students didn't even know what food banks were, but they are much needed more than ever at the moment, aren't they?
They are, yes. In Northern Ireland, it's estimated that 1 in 5 people actually live in food poverty. The Trussell Trust, which is one of the major food banks in Northern Ireland, last year they had to donate 61,500 food parcels.
Wow.
And 26,000 of those were for children. So it's a really much needed charity. And just with the way things are going at the moment, the need for them are going to only increase, unfortunately.
Exactly. So how's the walk going for you so far? Have you nearly reached your target yet? Or?
Oh, we're reaching it and we're smashing it. We're a very competitive company. We have the leaderboard every week with spot prizes, and it's been a great bonding exercise with all the offices and all the students. It's been really good fun.
All right, okay. Well, if people want to get in touch with you again, give us those contact details then.
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Click on the link, just giving a bit of information about why we're doing this and why it's so important, and just, get on board.
So the walk will continue into September now as well, won't it?
Yes, so donations are welcome. We're going to keep on going. In fact, it's our charity of the year, so we're going to be running through the whole year. So we'll keep the Just Giving page going and keep those sponsorships coming in.
Brilliant. Well, girls, the best of luck with the walk, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks very much, Robin.
Thank you. Okay, let's continue the theme of walking now, and a brand new walking app has just been released detailing some of the best walks in Northern Ireland. Nick Giles is the Ordnance Survey Managing Director behind the app, and he joins us now on the line. Nick, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks, Robin. Good to talk to you.
So tell us about this new app then. How did all this come about?
So we've had OS Maps, the OS Maps app working across the whole of GB, but we've been working really closely with our colleagues at Ordnance Survey Northern Ireland to now include their mapping within the application to enable even more people to explore the great countryside that we've got around us. So this is a new piece that we've introduced just this week. So really looking forward to seeing people get outside a lot more with OS Maps.
And it's not just walking, you've got cycle routes on there as well, haven't you?
Any outdoor pursuits, so walking, cycling, running, even kayaking, paddleboarding. It'll show you where and when you can get into the rivers or get out of the rivers. So yeah, generally all outdoor sports, but obviously walking still remains the most popular.
I think sometimes here in Northern Ireland we just forget how many great areas we have to explore, don't we?
There's some fantastic spots, and we've got a whole load of routes. If you're not sure or confident in terms of using a map to plot your own route, actually there are routes that exist across the whole of Northern Ireland, from Mount Stewart in County Down to the Gobbins Cliff Path in County Antrim, right the way through to some of the old favourites like Cavehill Country Park, Stairway to Heaven. So there's a whole raft of different routes that you can go out and explore.
Now I have to admit I haven't done the Stairway to Heaven in County Fermanagh yet, but I've seen the photographs. I know people have done the walk, and it's absolutely breathtaking.
I haven't done it either. It's on my list. I'm coming over at the end of September, and I want to do that, and I want to do Mount Stewart. Those are the two things that are on my list. Now,
the Cumber Greenway is listed on the app as well. That's quite close to where I live, and that's another walking area that's become quite popular at the moment.
Yeah, and that's just one of the many routes that we've got. So if you want to navigate your way around that, you're not confident reading a map, the app will help you a lot in terms of just really pinpointing exactly where you are, just to make sure that actually you stay safe out there as well. So it can be used in conjunction with a paper map. There's a huge range of paper maps, but the app gives you that extra functionality of using GPS to really accurately pinpoint your location.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the Gobbins Cliff Path there as well. That's another walk that I want to do, and again, somewhere with stunning scenery.
You've got lots of things in your list, so hopefully we'll be able to help you get outside more this summer as well. But yeah, beautiful part of the world.
And we're still obviously experiencing the good weather at the minute, so still plenty of time to get out there exploring.
Loads of opportunity. Kids are still off. This is a really good way as well of entertaining the kids. You can give them the app to follow. You can have the paper map as a backup, even teach them some of the map reading skills. This is free as well. So actually being able to get out and explore, fill those long summer days and get some adventures under your belt. This is a bug that will stay with you for life if you can get it to the kids young enough.
So if people want to get the app, where do they go to?
So it's available on all of the app stores, so the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, also available through the website. If you visit os.uk, follow the links there through to OS Maps, and that will enable you to plan on a slightly bigger screen than a 5.5-inch mobile phone. So it will work across both platforms.
Well, Nick, you've given us some great ideas of places to visit here in Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Absolute pleasure.
Right, let's have some more music, and this time we're going to feature the new single from Brendan Quinn. Of course, he was in the studio with us a couple of weeks back. His new album is out now, it's called Hubbin' It, and this is the current single featuring a stunning music video. This is called That's What I Do.
If I could find a way to take the wrong and make it right, that's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. And if I could unsay all the angry words we said, that's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. But I'm not one to cast a spell or try to turn the hands of time. If I could wave a magic wand, I'd make our love divine. But I know I'm less than perfect, but I'm trying to work it through. And that's what I do. That's what I do. If I could take the sun, the moon and stars out of the sky, that's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. I'd wrap them up in fancy silks and satins of the best, and all for you. That's what I do. But I can't promise anything except the love that's in my heart. And when it comes to miracles, I don't know where I'd start. 'Cause I know I'm less than perfect, but I'm trying to work it through. That's what I do. That's what I do. No one ever said that love was easy. Every road we travel has its bend. You're the star I look to for direction, guiding me home time and time again. And if I should ever stumble, I know you'd see me through. That's what you do. That's what you do. Sometimes love is like a cold beer on a warm day in July. And sometimes it can feel as if we're holding up the sky. I know I'm less than perfect, but I'm trying to work it through. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Now, my next guest started her career by selling sausages at the age of 13. After that, she went on to carve out a pretty successful career in London's West End. She's now back in Belfast with her own theatre company, the Commedia of Errors, and a show which is about to open at the Lyric Theatre. Let's find out more because Clare McMahon joins us in the studio. Clare, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Good to see you again. We'll talk about the gap year in just a second, but I'm fascinated. You were selling sausages at the age of 13. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, my dad had a family butcher's in North Belfast, And so everyone was roped in to work in the shop on weekends and at Christmas. And yes, I was a counter server for many's a year.
So you didn't come from an acting family, a showbiz family, anything like that?
No, just a very supportive family that was happy. My mum was happy to drive me to everything and anything that I got interested in, and drama was one of those things from very early age. So my first experience was in the town hall in Carrickfergus doing the speech and drama festivals, and then it just went from there. But yeah, there's no other actors so far in the family.
So you went off to London then, you trained in London, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, so I went to Central School of Speech and Drama in London straight out of school at 18, and I did the 3 years there, and then I stayed in London and carried on working as an actor and day jobbing as a support worker and making my way in the scene, you know.
Now, as an actor, you did some pretty big stuff. I think your first job in the West End was alongside Daniel Radcliffe, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So I was an understudy for a wonderful actress called Sarah Green, who was playing a character called Slippy Helen in The Cripple of Inishmaan, a play by Martin McDonagh. And Sarah got sick, unfortunately, and I got 30 minutes notice to get on stage and make my West End debut. And I played to full houses for the rest of the week, and it was just a dream come true, a real dream.
And everybody came to see that show. Graham Norton came to see you backstage and everything, didn't he?
Yes, that first performance, Graham Norton was in watching that night, and he came backstage, and he knew some of the other actors, and they told him delightfully that was my first time having a performance on the stage, and the first West End performance, and he was so supportive and positive. It was amazing because he went to Central as well, drama school. He trained at so I remember when I first went to Central, I saw his name engraved on the steps as one of the alumni, and then I got to meet him a few years later when he was in seeing the show. So yeah, it was a great moment.
Excellent. Now you've done some telly work as well. The Woman in White, I remember seeing that. That was a great series.
Yes, it was brilliant. It was filmed all here in all the National Trust sites and historical castles, and I got to see more of our old estates that are still here than I'd seen in my life. So yes, I played the lady's maid Fanny to the leading actor, and it was wonderful. Charles Dance, I got to meet him briefly, and yeah, just a brilliant summer working with fabulous company. It was brilliant.
And then I saw you recently in Agatha as well.
Yes. Oh, Agatha Christie, The Truth of Murder, directed by Terry Lone, which was brilliant to be able to work with him. And yeah, it's on Netflix, I think. I still believe it's on Netflix. So I'm told anyway. So that was great. I love Agatha Christie books. So to be able to be in the dramatisation of her own personal story rather than one of her novels was really good.
Excellent. So you're back home in Belfast now. So is Belfast home once again to you?
Yes, definitely. So Benjamin Gould and I, who run Comedy of Errors, we moved back home in 2015. And we've just made theatre and work here ever since. And yeah, we're very settled back home, and thank goodness have found our place here in the industry and are making work together, and now making work with more established venues more and more. So yeah, we're here to stay. So
you're writing as well at the minute. So does that mean you've said goodbye to the acting? Is it going to be writing from now on, or what's the plan? Well,
no, not the plan. It wasn't the plan. I wrote my first play, Shakespeare's Women, in 2017, and I acted in it as well. And then that was a bit of a catalyst for me to feel, I think I'd always been a writer. I'd always written from the acting point of view, but I'd never, suppose, had the confidence to sit and say, no, I want to write. So Shakespeare's Women sort of pushed me into it, and I applied to the Lear Academy down in Dublin to do a master's in playwriting. And I did that for a year, and then since then I've just been getting my first commissions and my first opportunities with companies, and I'm very lucky. This past year I've been a full-time writer, and I haven't had the time to be an actor for a little while, but it's in my blood and heart, so I'll get back on a stage or in front of a camera again soon. but I have too many plays to finish before I do.
The last time we spoke was actually in the Lyric Theatre, and we did the show from there, and you were saying how supportive the Lyric were in supporting writers like yourself.
Yes, yeah, they've been integral to my shift into writing and my development. So from the masterclasses they run that I attended just as a actor wanting to be writing. And then with Shakespeare's Women, Benjamin and I approached them in 2017 to say would they take it into the Naughton, would they programme it, and they did. And since then they've supported our development with the company. And I was one of the new playwrights on their new playwrights programme in 2019, which was an amazing experience just to get a full development programme for a year with them. So it's been really, really brilliant.
Brilliant. So tell us about the new show then. It's about to open very shortly. It's called The Gap Year, and it's a play full of women in their 60s, isn't it?
Yes. So not your stereotypical gap year. It's 3 women in their 60s who are good friends, and they decide to leave responsibilities behind and take a gap year around Ireland. And they try to do all 32 counties all over within a year. And Kate, one of the characters, is newly widowed, so she's sort of dealing with her grief and this new chapter of her life. And her friend Una is about to get divorced after a long separation. Her husband finally wants to marry the new partner. And then their friend Rushing is fed up minding grandchildren, and she's just had enough. So they go off on this adventure, and 3 other actors play all the characters they meet on the journey.
Brilliant. Now you've got a fabulous cast involved as well, haven't you?
Yes, I'm very lucky. We have Carol Moore, obviously of Shara Bank and the experience of being in years of wonderful work here in Northern Ireland. And we have Libby Smith as well, another actress I've long admired, and Marion O'Dwyer, who Ballixangel and a whole decades of theatre experience. So those 3 are a brilliant dynamic trio. And then we've got Keith Singleton, Megan Tyler and Frankie McCafferty, the 3 other actors playing all the ensemble characters. So they're just, I think the crack is 90 right now in the rehearsal room. There's some team.
I would imagine so. So when can we see it? When does it open then?
It is previewing from the 3rd of September and runs until the 25th of September. I should say actually there's a couple of socially distanced performances and accessible performances with signers and captions and all sorts. So just check out the Lyric website for all the details. Excellent.
Well, Claire, I'm looking forward to it. To the very best of luck with the show, and good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's find out about a very exciting gig which is taking place in the American Bar this coming Saturday. It's the Dan Donnelly All-Star Band. Sadly, Dan couldn't be with us today. In fact, the last time we had Dan on the show was way back in 2005, so we really got to get him back soon. But we can do one better on the show this evening because his dad, Desi Donnelly, joins us now. Desi, how are you, sir?
I am fine, thanks, Robin.
So we'll talk about the gig in the American Bar in just a second, but I'm fascinated by your background as well, because you go way back to the 1960s, working with some great music legends, didn't you?
Yes, I would have been playing little gigs in the early 60s, and then I joined a band called the Cardinals, spelt with a K, and we won the Queen's Court competition. Dermot O'Donnell ran that. And we won the Band of the Year. And so we played around here, but then we went over to England, played in England quite a lot, and then we got a contract for playing for the American bases in Europe. So we played in Germany. Germany was good because you had transport and a driver, and you went to different messes. Yeah. But then we moved to France. In France, you were based in the one camp. We were down Châtellerault, and we would play there for a month, and you had to play both the white messes and the black messes, and that was when I discovered how ignorant I was about music. Yeah, I do remember us being in a mess, and these black guys were shouting "soul, soul." We were playing. We thought they were saying slow.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so we're saying, here's another Jim Reeves number, you know. And we learned quite a lot from that, you know. We were about 2 years behind American music. But I remember Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was the one that's been played in all the jukeboxes.
Brilliant. So it must have been exciting times. And is it true that Gary Moore's dad booked you for your first gig as well?
No, it's not. Gary Moore, he was the local bookie in Hollywood. And we got an opportunity. The Queen's Hall, to us, that was like the London Palladium, playing the Queen's Hall, Hollywood. Show band nights, dance nights, and Gary Moore's father booked it. And I can remember the young Gary Moore. He must be about 10 years younger than me, or he was. He's, God rest him. And I had no direct connection, you know.
But during the show band years, I mean, you must have met all the greats, people like Dickie Rock and people like that, yeah?
Yeah, well, we would have played, I was playing with a little band called Transit, and we would have been playing maybe for David Hull, perhaps. And you would have been sent to the Northwest Hotel in Portrush, and we would have played Dickie would have played the show, and then we would have our band would have done the dancing and such. Yeah, but we did that with Dickie Rock all over the place, Shorts Club, lots of places. But I didn't really know him that well.
You met Rory Gallagher as well, didn't you?
I did. There used to be a Belfast Guitar Society here, run by a guy called Joe Cohen. I'm sure nobody's. And we used to meet regularly, and Gary was our president, and he would have come up, and you could have played the guitar with him. He's played my Fender, you know.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, and he's shown me how to do wah-wah with the, you know, turning the tone knob down and putting it on, you know, stuff like that.
Oh, brilliant. Now, as well as working in the music business, you're also a teacher as well for many years.
I was.
And I believe lots of your students went on to do music and stuff. They were inspired by you in a way, weren't they? That's
very nice for you to say that. When we came back from the American gigs, I was in the dole, and they gave me a choice to, I had a choice either to go to Feldon House and become a machinist with ICI, or go back and do A-levels. So A-levels seemed like the easier option. So I went and did A-levels at Barnakeeha, the secondary school. Billy Steele, the headmaster, took in all the whiffs. Yeah. And I did my A-levels there, and I got into the Teachers Training College. And even when I was a student, I would have played the pubs at night to support myself. And once I became a teacher, I still always, there was a dichotomy in my life. I just taught, I taught in the primary school, full-time teacher, and I played at night everywhere. You know, in the 60s, there were hundreds of pubs. Every pub in Belfast had a wee group playing in it, you know, up and down every pub. There seemed to be no limitation on licensings or anything like that, but they were all there. So I played at nights, and I pursued my teaching career, you know, very, very diligently now, not, and I had the two careers going simultaneously. And in the end, I got my master's in education. I became a headmaster, but I never, ever stopped playing. And I always felt that I was bringing culture into the children. This is a primary school now. I mean, their culture of Buddy Holly and, you know, the Everly Brothers and Bob Dylan. And I would have played the songs in the class, and they all, you know, they worked hard too. Unfortunately, when I meet some of them, I'd say, "Do you remember us doing mathematics?" And they say, "No, just remember you playing the guitar." I must appear like a wastrel.
Sounds like the kind of school I would have wanted to have went to back then.
Bebop Alula, She's My Baby, very popular.
You're getting back on stage this Saturday at the American Bar alongside your son, who's Dan Donnelly.
Yeah. I
remember playing Dan on the radio when he was in a band called Watercress way back. That was a band that should have done a lot more, shouldn't they?
It was, unfortunately, and they were very popular locally, but when they seemed to broaden their dimensions, it fell apart. And Daniel and some of them, they ended up in America, and Daniel played in America for a long time, and he stayed there for many years.
So he's based in England now. He's doing some work with the Levelers, isn't he?
Yes, he's full time with the Levelers, and he has other fingers in the pie. He has a music college in Sunderland, and he owns a share in a pub.
Brilliant.
So there you are.
So this Saturday you're getting back on stage. The event's called the Dan Donnelly All Stars Show. Yes. Are you looking forward to playing with your son?
I am looking forward to playing with him. Usually the format is I will play maybe half an hour or so, and I will talk about the old days and even the techniques of playing that you had, and bringing in echo pedals and different gauges of strings. And when I started off, first of all, there was nothing but very heavy gauge strings, and then I noticed these young fellows all bending, and I said, "You must have very strong fingers," and they said, "No. There's different gauges, and you want a light gauge string." And then, of course, that was an education for me, but sometimes I was about a couple of years behind the technology,
Now, the gig this Saturday, you'd love to see some of your old musician friends from back in the day there, some of your friends there as well, wouldn't you?
Very much so. Unfortunately, a lot of them are deceased, but I am in touch with some on Facebook, and they've said that they may turn up, but it's a Saturday afternoon, which is a very awkward time especially for old men. They can't sustain a day's boozing on into the night. So it's 2:00 until 5. I will play a bit, and then Daniel will join me, and we'll play some stuff together, and then Daniel will do his bit. He does. He uses those pedals. He can lay down tracks on those pedals, loop pedals.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
And he'll do all of that stuff,
Brilliant.
So it's technology from day one to day 1001,
Excellent. Well, sounds like a great gig. This coming Saturday, the American Bar. The best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Desi, good to talk to you. Thanks for coming in.
It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you. And to finish off the show this week, Clubsound are back out on the road for their final tour, celebrating over 50 years in show business. They play the Burnavon in Cookstown this coming Saturday, and here are the legendary Clubsound. See you next week. Bye-bye.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with some songs of yesteryear, we'd like to present to you your very own Robin Elliott Barbershop Quartet. Maestro, please. In the good old days of yesteryear, a penny bought a pint of beer, and bustles were the fashion of the day. Before the jukebox came along, the barbershop was filled with song, and rendered in the good old-fashioned way. We'd like to sing some for you, if we may, oh, if we may.
By the light,
by the light, by the light
of the silvery moon, I love to spoon.
I love the spoon, I love the spoon.
With the honey I'll crew loves June. Honeymoon,
Honeymoon, honeymoon,
keep a shining in June.
Shine on, harvest moon, up in the sky. I ain't had no love August is January, February,
or July.
there's no time, ain't no time to stay awake and smooth. So shine on, harvest moon, for me and my gal. Genevieve, my Genevieve, the days may come, the days may go, but still the hands of memory weave the blissful dreams of long ago. We were sailing out, sailing on moonlight day. You could hear the voices singing. They seemed to say, you have stolen my heart. Now don't go away. As we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay. On Moonlight Bay. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. It's time to say. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Robin Elliott Barbershop Quartet, thank you for listening. Good night. Good